Welcome to the Gravity Cancel Podcast, where we talk about all things Brawlhalla. We're your hosts, Sergeant Spank Cakes and Rocks. Now let's get into it. Alright, so if you want to start with how you got into Brawlhalla, how long you've been playing, and what draws you to the game.
So the way that I found it, I was just setting on a day off of work, setting on my Switch, and I was looking for some free games. And Brawlhalla popped up, I downloaded it. And I remember I started playing it, and I've never been too big into fighting games. And I picked Azoth because he was a free legend that week, and he looked really cool. And those are two of the hardest weapons to start off using because you have to know a lot about spacing. So like every time I tried to attack with a bow, I would whiff every shot. Same thing with the axe, and I was like, yeah, I hate this game. And I closed out of it. And then months later, I picked it up again, and Mordex was one of the free legends. And I was like, ooh, I kind of like these gauntlet things. And then I want to say I picked it back up around not last year's back to school event, but the year before that. So about 2 years or so I've been playing. A little under 2 years.
About 2 years, seriously.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you exactly when I got back into it. I remember. It was right when Petra came out.
Ironically, I think we'll get into Petra a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm quite the Petra connoisseur, if you will. But yeah,
so that's your history with Brawlhalla. So you started, tried it out, and fell out of it a couple times, and then eventually it just stuck.
My oh so humble beginnings. I also have a funny story about the one other fighting game I ever played, but that's for maybe a little bit later. I'll tell that story.
All right. I'm interested to hear that because I'm quite a fighting game fan. I almost exclusively, I wouldn't say exclusively, a lot of my time is spent on fighting games. For Brawlhalla, for me, the whole reason I got into it, I've always been a Smash Bros. Hater. As far as a competitive title goes.
Even friendly. I hate Smash Brothers. It's
not fun.
Fighting games, listen, Nintendo games in general, especially like Mario Party, Mario Kart, those are my biggest weaknesses. And it's like, it's the most casual players that beat me into the dirt it gets under my skin. That's why I can't play stuff like Smash.
And then they take a completely casual title, a party game, and they want to make it competitive, you know? They put all these rules into it that you can't use items, and you play on Final Destination, and they make a competitive title. Whereas Brawlhalla, they made a competitive game. So for me, I play a lot of fighting games, and I just never viewed platform fighters as a fun fighting game experience. And then in late 2019, I started playing in a gaming league called Indie Gaming League for a game called Killer Queen Black. I won't get into that. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point. And the spring circuit, about 3 months after I started, they introduced a game called Mage Quit. I started playing that. Got hooked on it. Still play it to this day. And then for the summer circuit, they finally introduced Brawlhalla. And I remember they announced it was May 25th, so I'm coming up on a year now, and I immediately started playing that day. Ironically, I had tried this game back when it released on the Xbox.
Oh, wow.
And also ironically, did not like it. And furthermore, I tried Azoth. So I got turned off of the game by Azoth as well.
Nice. Yeah, he pulls you in with those really cool looks.
Oh, he looks so cool, and just the way his I didn't realize this back in the day, but like how his neutral sig works and all that stuff. He's a really so cool legend.
But you can't hit anything with it whenever you
No, not when you first start out. And the movement back then was horrible. I think it was like pre-dashing. I don't know if they had dashing in the game then.
Oh wow.
There were some weird differences. But yeah, so I started playing it for this circuit in Indie Gaming League, and that's actually how I met you. I was just going to random podcasts or random Twitch pages and looking for people that would be interested in playing. And then, as history would have it, you and I go on to win 2v2 in Indie Gaming League.
The Winter Champions.
The Winter Champions, but there's a small asterisk there.
Let's not go into the specifics. Let's not
no,
go into
no,
the
no,
specifics.
No. We have to.
A title is a title.
I have to put the caveat there. Everyone forfeited because Brawlhalla players, they can't handle structure. They just like hopping into a game.
They're like dandruff.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, not everybody forfeited. We had a couple matches.
We did. We had a couple really good matches. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun with people. I don't think that format works for the way Brawlhalla is played. Brawlhalla works really well in tournaments. It works really well to just boot up and hop in a match. But for a organized play where you're playing once a week, while I had a lot of fun, it wasn't. I don't think it was the right audience for it.
I gotcha. I kind of feel that. The singles was kind of the same way. But we're not giving enough credit to our fantastic ability to come up. Well, really, your fantastic ability to come up with team names.
Right. So first season, we were like, it was right after
Mako just came out.
Yeah, Mako just came out, and I had rolled a fat shark skin in a box. I'm like, we're gonna be the Street Sharks.
Hell yeah,
we're two, children of the '90s, and we grew up with Street Sharks. We're gonna be the Street Sharks. No one knows who they are, but that's who we're going to be. And then
we lost a couple matches.
We lost like 3 matches, right? And we changed our name quickly to the artist formerly known as Street Sharks.
Exactly. Because the reason we were losing is because we'd play the first match as Thatch and Mako, which I could not play Mako.
Yeah, you couldn't play guitars or greatsword.
Sword.
I couldn't play sword I could play blasters okay, but I couldn't play sword.
We meme lost every first round on purpose, and then we were like, all right, we got to stop this.
Oh, good times. So I think that alludes to our next point about who are our favorite legends.
Oof, well, mine's starting off is going to be Petra and Bryn. Both have a very special place in my heart, but that third place favorite is always alternating. Some days it's Wushang, sometimes it's Zariel, sometimes it's Hattori. Really just depends, but Bryn and Petra are definitely the number one spot.
Yeah, you seem to have 2 very consistent picks, but then your like 3rd through 8th pick is just very random, and you rotate through them frequently.
Yep, that's my biggest weakness.
I never know who my 2v2 ranked partner is going to be playing. I'm like, oh, you did well with Bryn last match. Now you're not playing Bryn.
Yep, I'd just be like, you know what? I'm feeling Petra. Let's play some gauntlets.
That's it. And is there any rhyme or reason to those legends? Is it the weapons that attract you? Is it their signatures? Their aesthetic?
I started off with Gauntlet was my main weapon, and then Wushang and Hattori, or Wushang forced me to learn Spear, and then I picked up Hattori's Spear, and I kind of ran with them a lot. For a while, I'd try out other Spear legends, and I tried Bryn's Spear, and it was really good. You know that noob combo, the side light, down light,
gravity cancel
signature that every Spear player uses. I tried it out on Bryn, and I was like, oh my gosh.
She honestly has like one of the best.
And it comes out so
fast.
quick. Oh my gosh. And because of her, I was like, you know what? Let's start using Axe. And then that was game over. As soon as I was like, man, this Axe thing's kind of fun.
It's funny that you were so turned off by Axe at first because you couldn't hit anything. And that's a problem with Axe. It's very hard to hit, but once you figure it out, it works against every weapon.
Turns out all you have to do is hit recoveries and side airs all day. And congrats, you can play Axe now.
If they're off stage, you have to hit them with a down heavy.
Oh, for sure. Which is really just the same as recovery, just going downward.
Yeah. So, ironically, Petra was like my first main. I'm noticing some similarities here between yourself and myself that I just did not put to paper for a while. So Petra was my first.
You want to know the funny thing about Petra?
What's that?
I got her to level like 28 on my Switch, and that took me about a year. And I never learned Orb. I'd pick it up. Oh, that's an orb. Yeet. Pick up the gauntlet.
You still do that. You do that with every legend.
That is kind of true. like Bryn, I'll usually prefer the axe, but if I have to use the spear, I'm good. I know how to play spear. Petra, though, I'm just like, maybe one day a month I can play Orb. So I'm just gonna not take the risk. That I'm just gonna find me a pair of gauntlets.
So what really attracted me to Petra was the Orb.
Oh yeah.
She had like very, Super Saiyan Goku vibes with the Spirit Bomb and the almost Hadouken / Kamehameha Blast, the side signature.
Oh yes. That is what drew me in, that Dragon Ball Z aesthetic. I was like, who is this woman? And I want her to beat me up right now.
Now I'm just waiting for the Dragon Ball crossover. I don't know who else it's going to be, but it's got to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen.
And then the other thing that I really liked about her is she had a really good orb, almost confirm with sidelight into the neutral sig.
Oh yeah.
And that just that got me so many kills so early on. It's hard to dodge out of. But yeah, she was my first main, I would say, along with Kaya a little bit. I dabbled with her, and then I flipped a switch, man. I was so tired of people complaining about signature spam, and even when you're just dropping some signatures here and there. I was so tired of signature spam complainers that I said, I'm finding the most annoying legend ever. And I found Yumiko.
Intro Yumiko.
And I played the most degenerate Yumiko up to platinum.
Well, the thing is about Yumiko's design is its set is designed to be spammed. Like all the
right.
Orbs.
It's designed for like set play and traps almost. Whereas Brawlhalla really doesn't have character archetypes per se. Like you don't have zoners, you don't have grapplers. You have a little bits and pieces of these different archetypes, but Yumiko is like almost a trap character. She's almost a zoner in a way. She blocks off areas of the map that you just can't enter, or else you're gonna get hit. And that's how I played her.
Yeah, and there's really no other legends that do that. Well, there might be one or two, but they don't do it near as well as Yumiko. I feel like is there one more legend that kind of lays out a trap?
Dusk he doesn't have a trap, but he has that ability to hold you in place.
I see what yep.
Which would be cool for like twos. But no, not really. Cross has that weird zoning down signature on his
it comes after you on the
gauntlet.
gauntlets.
Yeah. So he doesn't really put himself in danger with it unless he hits. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, Yumiko, she just, with her hammer, she blocks off the air, and then with bow, she blocks off the ground. And hammer creates really good setups with a downlight. So you block off the air. If they run in under it, you hit them with a downlight, and you can hit them either into the orb or hit them with a side air.
Yep.
So I played Yumiko for the longest time. She truly carried me to platinum. I am not a platinum player by any means.
It is tough for me to play against Yumiko because most of my approaches are going to be overhead. Sword, I approach overhead. Gauntlet, I always approach with that down air. Like I try not to do side light because everyone expects you to do a side light.
Right. Ironically, that'd probably be the best against Yumiko hammer. The one that I struggled with the most actually was Qatar, and side light into either the vortex combo or just a crazy follow up after that. And then nowadays, I haven't played Yumiko as much. I got her to like level 30. And then I achieved my goal of getting to platinum. I've been dabbling with Queen Nai. I really found a love for guitars. And then we'll talk about him a bit later, but Reno, I've been having a blast with Reno.
Oh, his orb is so crisp.
It feels really good. So, getting on that topic, you got any more to say about your favorite legends? Any other legends you want to give a shout out to?
Not necessarily, not off the top of my head, but I'm sure there will be a time. What was I going to say? I've lost it. I think I was gonna say something about Fate, but it wasn't too important. If I've lost it that quick.
Fate's cool too. We're going to talk about all these at depth, I'm sure, at some point in time. Okay, one more legend question though. Who is your most rage-inducing legend? Who do you just hop into queue and as soon as it happens, you just want to quit?
Artemis. I didn't even have to think about it. Artemis makes my blood boil.
Is it the scythe?
The two most annoying weapons, scythe and lance. Wrapped together.
Yeah.
Not only that, her lance side sig is so quick. It's like you can't get away from it. If you're in the zone, like within reach, and they hit that, there's no way to avoid it. So quick. But also any other Lance Legend.
Any other Lance Legend. Ironically, mine's a Lance Legend as well. I would say mine's Sir Roland, and usually I have the most respect for Sir Roland players because of the Lance characters. He seems underutilized, and they're typically the least toxic with a Lance. But way they play is all the same.
I was going to say I feel like the least toxic Lance is Ulgrim because I feel like they focus more on their axe than they do their Lance.
Yeah, I can see that too. You also got Vector. I mean, Vector players all around are pretty respectable.
No, they're not. They're all spammers. We're playing two different types of Vector players.
one of my main scrim partners is a Vector player, so my perception's skewed there a bit because I'm used to playing his Vector.
I got you.
But maybe I just like the Autobot aesthetic of Vector.
He does have some really cool skins.
Got really cool skins, really cool design.
I can't wait till we do an entire episode just talking about.
Oh, we're going to talk about Brawlhalla fashion episode.
Oof, yes.
I can picture it now.
I'm starting a fashion line.
All right, that's enough about our favorite legends. Let's get into some news. So, Season 20 began April 21st, or 20th, 2020.
So, do you want to hear the saddest thing you'll hear all day?
What's that?
I don't think I played a single ranked match last season. I just didn't have time. And whenever I did play it, I'm addicted to Strikeout. I can't stop playing it.
Really?
Having 3 legends, just because like I'll match their aesthetic and I'll come up with like a little head cannon in my head, like why these 3 are teaming up together. It's pretty nerdy, not gonna lie.
Have you ever played King of Fighters?
Never even heard of it, actually.
You've never heard of King of Fighters. So, nope. King of Fighters, you know who SNK is?
SNK.
They made like Neo Geo, Metal Slug.
Not off the top of my head.
Samurai Showdown. They were really big in the early 90s. They made King of Fighters as it was like a budget Street Fighter, basically. The cabinets were cheaper and stuff, and they got really popular in like South America and like Middle America. But it's like it's a fighting game, right? But instead of just playing one character, you play 3 characters. But it's not a tag game.
Ah.
It feels like Strikeout was based off of the King of Fighters formula, because you play, you pick 3 fighters, right? And you play round 1. If you win, you carry that character into the next round against their second character, but you keep the same life you had in the first round. So it's very similar to Brawlhalla because you lose the stock, but you still, you've taken, 300 damage or whatever.
I gotcha.
You're going to notice fresh legend.
You're going to notice something. Your knowledge on fighting games or game history is going to eclipse mine by a long shot.
Okay, that's fair.
But I will have you know I did watch the new Mortal Kombat movie.
I haven't seen it yet. I will see it on Sunday.
Pretty brushed up on my Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat lore. But what brought me to King of Fighters with that, so that Strikeout feels very King of Fighters-esque in the way it works, but they have teams that are... You don't have to play these teams. You can pick whatever characters you want. They have teams that have like a thematic similarity, either whether it's like a story, or in the story, or like they have team, I think it's women fighters, which is like 3 of their main women in there. I'm not super versed in King of Fighters, but they have a thematic team, essentially. So kind of what you're doing there with creating a team is very similar to what King of Fighters has.
I gotcha. That's awesome. I just rolled Draugr, Bodvar, and then I'll run like the demon Hattori from the first battle pass, and then like the demon like Petra. I'll run like a demon team, and then I'll switch it up to like the cyberpunk team, but I won't go off too much of a tangent. Go off on a tangent as much.
So you didn't play much ranked. That's what I'm getting at.
So I think we played. This isn't the ranked season. We played a lot of ranked 2s, was it?
No. That we were going for that platinum push in season 19.
Yeah. And
or season, no, not season 19. Season 18.
Season 18. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't touch ranked at all last season.
Yeah, I did maybe probably 12 to 15 ones matches and about a handful of 2s. I don't know what it was. I just kind of fell out of the ranked mindset after reaching platinum. It seems like everyone does. And
you got complacent.
Yep, got complacent. I think my goal going forward is at least to reach platinum. Maybe not every season, but every other season. So this would be my season to reach platinum.
Well, we're actually going to reach diamond this season because they introduced something a little bit more serious, something we can really dedicate ourselves to, and that's going to be that new ranked 2v2 Kung Foot playlist.
What a surprise! I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, me either. I was thinking maybe like a ranked free for all. I would have guessed ranked free for all came way before Kung Foot.
Even ranked strikeout. I think ranked strikeout would be perfect. I can't wait till they do that.
But
so yeah, they introduced 2v2 ranked Kung Foot as a seasonal ranked queue, and it sounds like they're going to rotate every ranked season. They're going to rotate to a different game mode.
I was actually about to say, I just noticed that underneath ranked 2v2 Kung Foot, it says a different ranked queue each season. So that is extremely hype.
Yes. So even though we may be the best diamond Kung Foot players by the end of the season, we may not be able to uphold that title next season.
All I need is that border, and then I'm just gonna. You get the border in ranked Kung Foot.
It's gonna be a platinum border, or a diamond border, but it's got an asterisk next to it. But you hover over it. Then
you only play experimental and strike out for the rest of your days. And when someone talks crap because you're a diamond, say, "Oh yeah, that was my little brother. I passed him the controller that game."
Well, speaking of ranked Kung Foot, we had our first experience last night. I think it went pretty well.
It was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
No, the first match we didn't get stomped the first match, but it was a really feeling out experience. And then we got so into it.
And then we found out that Yumiko is extremely broken in Kung Foot. That and Katars.
You know, as much as I was enjoying Yumiko, it was like the cooldown was just a little bit too long to where I couldn't keep orbs out consistently. And I wasn't timing the orbs correctly to correctly defend.
Yeah.
So we're halfway to gold.
It's a growing process. Yeah, we're halfway to gold, so give it another week.
Technically, we're only like almost a sixth of the way to diamond, so give us a couple weeks. We're coming for you, whoever the top Kung Foot players are.
We'll see you in the BCX Kung Foot tournament.
Man, I can't wait. If they just like we'll talk about BCX a little bit later, but if they drop a tournament, if Brawlhalla hosts a tournament for Kung Foot, we're entering, no doubt.
100%.
So the other interesting thing that they introduced this season is a new ranked reward. So all of you that earned a bunch of ranked points, you can now get a twin-tailed ox sidekick. What are your thoughts on that?
So my initial thoughts is, oh my god, I still haven't gotten that Skyforge jewel that I wanted. How do you explain that? What is it called? The UI thing? Is that what they call it?
Frame thing? Not frame, but I know what
loading
you mean.
frame and UI theme. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Or I don't think it comes with a loading frame, but you get my point. That I still haven't gotten it, and I'm just like, slow down, guys. I got to catch up. But the bull looks really cool, both the Skyforged and the Goldforged. It does trigger me a little bit being a Destiny player because I am a tried and true hunter. And this current season in Destiny, the Titans got a new armor set that everybody under the sun is wearing, which is a mechanical bull like this. So I get a little bit triggered. But it does look very clean. I don't know about spending 6,000 or 9,000 glory on a oh shoot, what are they? Sidekick. On a sidekick.
I'll tell you what. I'm saving the next 2-3 seasons, whatever I need to do to get Gold Forge.
Oh yeah? You like it that much?
I really like it. So the Skyforged and Goldforged colors are really cool as far as a color goes, but we're getting so many different with the battle passes and new events coming up. We're getting so many different colors that I just don't need the colors.
Yeah.
And I absolutely despise with a passion the Goldforged and Skyforged weapons.
Yeah, they're very boring.
They're such an eyesore. I go extra try hard whenever I have to face someone using those.
Because they have no sense of fashion. I get it, 100%. I'm the same way. But I mean, like, if you stack them with a Skyforged or Goldforged character skin, it looks fine. But when somebody runs at me with like the Christmas colors and they've got a Goldforged weapon, I'm just like, oh, are you colorblind?
I'll tell you what, though. Okay, what about the St. Patrick's Day? What is it? Lucky Clover colors with gold.
I love them. I don't know about that. I'd have to see it.
You just need a character that's got a leprechaun skin. We're gonna get into fashion right now. Here you go. You ready for this? You get God. Lucky Clover Reno with which skin has the coin?
Oh gosh. If you go into training, you can just go to
it's the Fairy Moth one. He's got the coin orb, and you get it in Gold Forged.
Oh my god.
I guess he would use the actual Gold Forged one, but he looks kind of like, not leprechaun-y, but the leprechauns like their gold.
Oh yeah, that looks good. I'm looking at it right now. Oof. Alright, so with the ranked season, there's also they also dropped Reno, so we were just talking about Reno.
Let's get into that. We talked a little bit about him earlier. You said his orb's very crisp. What do you like about his orb? It is he, right?
With this game, that is a very good question. After the listening to the voice actor and everything, I'm gonna assume Reno is a guy, but that might be a foot and mouth moment. But
Sorry
let's go.
If my cat is meowing right in my microphone.
Oh, you're fine. I didn't even notice. But so the thing about the orb is everything feels so crisp, and he's got pretty high defense. I think he's got a 6 natural in defense.
Yep, natural
and
6.
His dexterity is massive. So the orb just feels so crisp. The only thing is I still cannot space out his side signature right. Like I just go right past whoever I'm trying to hit with it.
Yeah, his orb side signature is really difficult to hit. I actually I really enjoy his aesthetic and his design in general, and it's a really good weapon set for how I play. But I'm not a big fan of his signatures at all, which is probably a good thing. I need to rely less on signatures. You could call me a spammer, I suppose. I just use all the tools at my disposal. But
spamming is a valid playstyle.
Yeah, his signatures. I like his neutral sig on orb because it kind of functions the same way as Petra's did, except it launches them downward. So you get some really fun kills with launching them off the map and then throwing a weapon at them.
I gotcha.
But his blasters, I'm not a fan of any of the signatures. His blaster side signatures, okay.
Blasters.
I remember you tried playing blasters with Barraza. Was it after getting a skin or something?
Yeah. His axe is very good. I do like his axe, but not a big blaster guy, as you'll come to find out.
Blasters are tough. They're tough. I think Reno's actually... He's a pretty good intro to blasters and orb just based on his stats.
Yeah, he's got really good stats, and then more importantly, he has very good skins. So
see,
I think
he did so. Go ahead.
Before you say anything about the skins, I can almost guarantee we're going to get to an argument over which skin's the best.
Okay, go for it.
I want to take a guess that your favorite skin is going to be the Desperado or the original skin.
Okay, I would guess that yours is probably Widowmaker.
No, it's a Fairy Mothman. Mothman?
I think everyone's favorite's Fairy Moth.
Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
I just didn't take you as one of the, one to go with the crowd.
I am a follower.
Mine actually is the original. I think they did a phenomenal job with the design. I don't know many legends that I enjoy the original skin more than other skins, but Reno's definitely one of them.
If somebody would have told me that I thought a cockroach cowboy was cool, I would have called him crazy. But now after seeing him, I want an anime based on a cowboy cockroach because he's so cool.
Let's get on it. That could be our next project.
That tuft of hair behind his head looks very anime. I'm in.
But it's only on the original skin.
That's true. That is true.
It could be on Widowmaker. We just can't see. Widowmaker's very interesting. It gives like sort of cyberpunky space vibes.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, Reno, I think they knocked it out of the park. That's a weapon set I'm a big fan of. And they've been doing really well with the Legends lately, and I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm glad it wasn't another Greatsword.
We were this close to a sword orb character.
See, I'm waiting on that orb Qatar.
I will never touch that legend, ever.
Qatar's so fun, man.
Speaking of touching legends, the current legend rotation is Wushang, Lord Vrex, Magyar, Artemis, Bryn, Dusk, Isaiah, Petra, and Koji. If there was, let me ask you this: if there was somebody new, just starting out, and this is what they've got to pick from, playing the free-to-play version of Brawlhalla, which characters would you suggest them give a try out first?
All right. Out of that group, I would probably go with Koji.
Okay.
I think sword and bow are... Bow's a little bit weird to space out, but I think it is very beginner friendly.
It does have like an auto assist, like autopilot.
Yeah,
string.
It has a pretty much auto combo basically if you just press the buttons right.
Yeah.
And sword is just, if you learn sword, it'll carry you into several other weapons. We'll get more into weapon synergy and legends that utilize those synergies well later, but I think Koji's my pick there.
It's kind of funny that you say that about sword, because I can't remember who it was. It might have been... I don't want to give credit to the wrong person. Oh gosh, I can't remember who it was. It was a US player that made a meme that was like, anytime somebody says that their favorite weapon is sword, it's like they just said their favorite drink is water, because it's like, it's so plain, but it's in everybody's toolkit. If somebody starts to get just spanked in a tournament, playing the meta or playing whatever they usually play, they will always default to a sword character like Val, because sword is just bread and butter, just so easy to use, and it's so theatrical and acrobatic. It's fun to use too.
But it teaches you the game though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the only other weapon that does that, we'll save that conversation for later. Who's your pick for... Out of that free legend rotation, you just downloaded the game, who are you going to?
So I'm going to, well, personally, I'd go straight to Petra because that's kind of what I did. But if I had to suggest to somebody, I would say Wu Shang. I would skip Bryn because Axe is kind of difficult for a beginner. Same thing with Petra with Orb. Orb just... Whenever you play Orb, it feels different than... Like, it doesn't make as much sense as Scythe does. Or not Scythe, I'm sorry. Spear
Scythe?
does.
Sword.
Yeah, not Scythe. Definitely not Scythe.
Nothing makes
sense. But, like, sword and Spear, kind of... It operates the way that you'd expect it. Orb's a little bit different. So I'd go Wu Shang, so you've got the gauntlets and then the spear to learn as well.
Okay, that's very respectable. I think gauntlets are a bit complicated, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So another thing that was just announced today, I think it was today, the Brawlhalla event is in full swing.
Or it was announced yesterday, released today.
Announced yesterday, released today. Okay,
yeah,
fair
yeah.
point. This
they
is
did a
April
dress up
28th
dev stream
for anyone listening to this later.
Yeah, it was a dress up stream. Both Cirrus and Slosh both were bumblebees. It was a sight to behold.
I need to go back and watch that. I didn't get to see it. So, with this event, as with most events, we have a new color, Podium, avatars, and more. The color is, what would you say, like pastel green and yellow?
Yeah, it's a very pastel, very Easter color. It's kind of like it. You know what? The perfect way to describe it is, oh gosh, what's it called? What is that stuff that's like ice cream but not ice cream?
Sorbet? Sherbet?
Sherbet. Sorbet. Sherbet. Whatever it's called. Literally look it up. It's light green, pink, and that yellowy orange.
Oh, the hair's pink. I was like, where's the pink at? Is it the hair that's pink?
But I love it. Yeah, a lot of people's hair is pink.
Yeah. I was gonna go with the yellow and green. It looks like you washed your favorite Green Bay Packers shirt a little bit too much.
it is a very faded color
washed out.
Compared to a lot of the other colors we have. Oh, I love it. It looks so good on so many characters. Like, look at Magyar's armor, and then
yeah,
Isaiah's fade and his hair. Oh, it looks so good. Don't get me started on every Hattori skin in this color. It looks so good.
Hattori literally looks like sherbet.
Yeah.
It's called Verdant Bloom for those that are not looking at Brawlhalla currently or haven't heard, but it's a really good color. I'm really excited to see new events. I think outside of Battle Pass releases, new events are my favorite.
100%.
And then, go ahead.
Blue Mammoth Games has given me the shaft twice now. So, 2 times. I finally kind of cared about getting a legend. Like, I've got plenty of legends that I could buy the black skin for, but I've just never really thought that it was worth 25,000 coins. But I had 25,000 saved up, was about to buy it, and then boom, we got the Gala colors.
Yeah.
So I dropped all my coins on that, and then today I was at like 23,000 coins.
Oh man!
And spent it all on these.
Now
colors.
You're down to nothing.
I even spent like 30 mammoth coins buying extra Verdant Bloom.
You're all in on the Easter Bunny colors.
Oh, I am all in.
Well, you gotta save up for at least one black skin. We gotta figure out who we're taking to Diamond with our 25,000 coin skin.
I'm probably gonna go with Bryn.
The other thing that and it's kind of weird to see an event with only two skins for, but we got 2 new skins, one for Zol and one for Jaeyoon.
Yeah, so the Zol one I like a lot. It's like the art style is so soft that it doesn't really match a whole lot of other skins, especially not Zol skins. But it looks super clean. It mixes with colors really well. And it's going to make a great strikeout team with that core skin that is like...
Yeah.
He's got like moss all over him. Oh,
and
he's got make a wicked
that
strikeout
like tree
team.
stump hammer.
Yep.
Oh, I can see it now. And then I think the third one for that is probably that, who was it? Sentinel Skin from the St. Patrick's Day event.
Oh, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
He had the really cool, like, dagger-like guitars. It's a good one, man. Look it up later. It's a good one. The Jae-yoon one, I am not a fan of.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, nothing about it really screams springtime.
The flower on the greatsword, maybe. There might be some story there that I'm missing, but
I see the Sentinel that you're talking about, the Kusidhi Sentinel.
Yes.
Very difficult word to say. But yes, that would go perfectly with that strikeout team.
But yeah, the Jae-yoon skin. I'm gonna be honest. I am not a fan of any of the Jae-yoon skins. I think default one's the best.
Yeah, I do like the sword skin. It looks very the
Death
regular
Jester.
sword. Yeah, or no. I'm talking about the new skin that just came out.
Oh,
today.
okay, I gotcha.
The small sword, not the great sword, the standard sword, the blue blossom blade. I like that a lot because it looks very Sailor Moon. I don't know who I would use it with because I wouldn't be playing Jae-yoon, but
I'm sure you can find nice. Like a Val skin that would work with.
That's true.
We're getting into our fashion stream. We can't be doing this.
It's gonna happen every time.
Next up, I think that takes care of all the news. BCX 2021 European singles and doubles happened last weekend.
So let me just tell you that we need to start drug testing these boys. Some of the just tomfoolery that I saw in this tournament, almost all coming from Pavelski, just absolutely ridiculous. When he's not to be too big of a Pavelski fan, but when he just stomped the dirt with Heisen in the winners final before the grand final, it was just some of the unarmed plays that this guy made was just over the top and ridiculous.
Was he playing Val for that one?
Yeah, he's playing Val.
Did he carry Val through the whole? Because I didn't get to watch any of it.
I'm pretty sure. I think Akno mirror matched the Val.
Yeah, yes, he did.
And I watched the entirety of the Heisen Pavelski games, and then when Akno came up out of the losers bracket, I watched the entire first 5 games. And then whenever they did the bracket reset, I was like, I can't handle this. It's too stressful. So I stopped until the game 5, and I was like, all right, I'm watching it again.
Well, they took it to the final game. I couldn't believe it. You never see that.
Yeah, it's very rare. You see it in doubles a lot, but in singles, it's usually a lot of the times you get blowouts, especially in EU.
And grand finals, oh man,
mm-hmm.
What a game to take to the final game, or what a match to take to the final game. The interesting one there. So you had Pavelski with Val, you had Agno with Val, you had Heisen with Koji, and then you had a random Fate. 720 Polyshot took 4th place with Fate.
He's on that Sandstorm gimmick, pulling out Fate out of nowhere, out of left field.
But to do that at BCX, I mean, I didn't watch any of it. I'm not savvy with any of these players, to be quite honest. It's such a cool pick, though. Fate is such a swaggy character.
Fate's so fun to watch. I mean, Orb, like when you get someone unlike myself who's actually really good with Orb, it is just awesome to watch.
And Fate's signatures are so fun, too.
Absolutely. And her neutral Orb signature, that's just that huge uppercut, that is one of the most satisfying signatures in the game to hit.
I think my favorite Fate signature hit is probably the teleport with the scythe. What is it, her down sig?
I can never hit that one.
It's so hard, but when you hit it, like when you just get the perfect read and you're like, I know they're going to land here, and you just pull it off, oh, it's so satisfying. It's very similar to Petra's down sig with her gauntlets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, when you get that read, it hits right.
Now, I didn't get to watch a ton of the doubles, But, no big shock that Blazing Acno won. But one thing that I like to point out is just the difference in legend picks. So for, singles, you've got 2 Vals, a Koji, and a Fate, all pretty nimble characters. But then you go to doubles, and first place was Taros and Koji, which Blazing Acno, and then Pavelski and the Ninja 729, they actually played double Thor.
Thor Squad.
Yeah, so that is something. I remember watching videos when I first started playing Brawlhalla of the esports scene, and that was when Thor was really big. I guess that's when Orb was at its peak. But double Thor, and then third place team's going to be playing Jala and Ulgrim, and then fourth place was Bodvar and another Taros. So it's just the meta with doubles seems to be all those heavy weapons, the hammers, the axes, the lance.
Yeah, and then you typically pair it with someone that is a little bit more nimble. It's kind of like you're setting up someone to do the damage and someone to go in for the kill. With Koji and Taros, Taros is probably taking the kill shot at relatively low health. And whereas Koji's just gonna, kind of bounce in, bounce out. This is just pure speculation. I didn't get to watch any of it, but Koji, he's very fast, and both those weapons allude to just doing a little bit of damage here and there, and then the random big Taro swing. Yep. Thor and Thor, that's the most interesting one to me, is the double Thor.
Yeah, like you don't see a lot of doubles teams that mirror each other than Simba and Santi, who are the U.S. players that always play Val. And
yeah,
they are,
yeah.
Oh,
well,
they're my
Val,
favorite doubles team to watch. They're by far my favorite doubles team to watch. Anytime that Santi and Simba versus a Boomy Storm team, oof, that is a sight to see.
Man, you're making me want to actually watch some of these. I might have to tune in to... actually, I won't have to tune in to the U.S. ones because we're going to be playing.
Yeah, that's true. And, since we're doing a podcast now, you better start watching those esports streams.
I'm thinking, who do you think you're going to take into the match?
Our match?
Our match, yeah. Who are you playing?
So here's what's going to happen. It's going to be Hattori. I want to show up. Big shot, big money, going to play Hattori. And what's going to happen, we're going to lose that first match. And then I'm probably going to switch to Bryn. And then I'll play Bryn the remainder of the day. That's probably what's going to happen.
That's exactly what I expected. Until someone hits you with a random Zol and you get mad about it. And then
I'm like, it does not take any skill to play Zol. Let me show you. And then I switch to Zol and get...
You do 120 damage with a Zol.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. I don't like talking about that match. We still, hey, who's champs though?
We still won. We're still champs.
We're still champs.
I'm probably gonna take Queen Nyan. I think.
Toxic. I love it.
I mean, my Queen Nyan is not toxic.
That's true.
My Queen Nyan is pretty solid. I'm probably gonna start with that, and then I may transition over to maybe a Lucian if I'm feeling blasters. We'll see.
You've been on this guitar kick lately.
Guitars are life.
People don't train against it as much.
No, it's underrated. Just wait, give it a couple of BCXs, you'll see guitars win it all.
All right.
Out with the Val and in with the Asuri.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to see more Asuri players. That's also a very aggressive legend, and it's fun to watch.
So fast. So. Let's talk a little bit about some advice for beginners. What legends or weapons do you think beginners should start with?
So I'm going to start off with the 3 weapons I think people should look into starting with. And I'll kind of break down why on each one. So number 1's going to be sword. We've kind of talked about that earlier. It's kind of like the bread and butter of, learning how to play, and just the spacing. It just feels right. Like you play bow or you play axe, and you're trying to hit people with the light attacks, and the spacing feels off. Sword's the exact opposite. Sword feels like you're playing a hack and slash game. And, like we see in the professionals who are seeing Val, that's a sword legend, Koji, and that Jala, also another sword legend, Bodvar, another sword legend. A lot of pros will whip out Bodvar as like their trump card, which is another sword legend. So sword's very easy to learn. It's easy to learn, hard to master. And then same thing with the second weapon, which is going to be Spear. Spear's combos are probably the easiest in the game to learn. And then it's all that little stuff like knowing, like being able to bounce off a down air into a side light, just being able, predicting exactly how high they're going to bounce off that down light once you bounce them off the ground and hit them with that side light, depending on their health level. That stuff takes some getting used to, but you can get kind of fancy with the Spear, and it does have some of the best recovery and ground pounds in the game. And then lastly, I'm going to say Gauntlet, just because it's so in your face and technical. It's another one that it's got like one or two combos, and which I'm exaggerating on, but it doesn't have a whole lot of combos, but it's a lot of freestyle. So, I mean, you've got your side light into recovery, and then you've got your standard side light into eventually a side air, but for the most part, you kind of have to freestyle going into a down light weapon toss and get fancy with it. But it's for people that do a lot of fighting games where they're like a grapple player, I would say Gauntlet's a fun one to get started on. And it just feels good to play.
Gauntlet's definitely very grapply and kind of you control the flow of the match. There's some 50-50s to it. It's like if they dodge left, I do this. If they dodge right, I do this. If I guess wrong, they're not getting hit. But if I guess right, I can carry the combo. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. So you have Sword, which is kind of like you said, is the basics. Something to learn. Low skill floor, high skill ceiling. I would agree with that. I'm a horrible sword player, but I would definitely agree that it's a good place to start. Ironically, I would say Sword is probably not my recommendation for beginner, and I would vote for Axe because I think Axe has better matchups.
What I was gonna say was, whenever I forgot this part, but another big reason to play Sword is because Sword is just the faster version of Axe. They play very similarly, but Axe is just very slowed down, which is kind of hard for beginners. So if you go into Axe thinking of it as just, not a great sword, but just a bigger sword, then that's kind of how I got into Axe so quickly, because I was like, oh damn, this is just slow sword.
So you went from from Sword to Axe, and it was an easy transition.
And then the better I got with Axe, the better I got with Sword. They kind of
okay. That's fair. I would just go straight to Axe. Just skip it. That's kind of what I did. I mained Barraza for a bit. I never touched a Sword Legend until I played Thatch for the memes. But I never touched a Sword Legend, and I still really don't play Sword Legends. So I think my first weapon would definitely be recommending an Axe. It's slow, but I think that teaches you patience. Sword, you can kind of just go for it, and you'll eventually hit something. Whereas if you whiff with an Axe, you're just going to get punished.
Yeah, you can be very reckless with Sword compared to Axe.
So I think that alludes to how I play. I play I wouldn't say patient game, but I'm not opposed to just standing in the middle of the map and waiting for them to make a mistake. So Axe would probably be my first weapon. Second weapon, Bow. I think Bow is very good for beginners in the same way that Spear is, because it has that simple combo, the side light, down light, and then you can follow it up with like neutral air or recovery, or you can follow it up with literally anything. You can follow it up with SIGs on certain characters, but then it also has diversity and it has one of the best ground pounds.
Oh yeah.
Maybe second only to,
because it shoots you straight down, and it's just
with force too.
With a lot of force. I would say the only ground pound better than that, I would almost say Hammer, because
Hammer and Blasters are very close.
Oh, Blasters too. Blasters is very strong.
So I would say bow is my second recommendation, and then my third, and this is a little bit of bias in action, but katars. I think katars are the perfect intro weapon to string weapons. They're more straightforward than scythe. Scythe has a lot of directional inputs with the sidelight and the downlight, and it's a little bit harder to follow up with, whereas katar is, you can follow up with like a neutral air or a side air with most attacks.
I gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I just never grasped katars early on, and they were kind of difficult for me, which is why I switched to trying to learn gauntlets whenever I was beginning. But if someone sits there with a YouTube guide on how to do katar strings, it's kind of like riding a bike. Those katar strings, you never forget how to do them.
Yeah, so that's one thing with the katar, is it actually has that a vortex combo where if you miss your opportunity, you're getting hit back into it. I call it the half pipe. The side light, down light, and then you do the jump, and then you do the down air. And a lot of people, even up through mid to sometimes high gold, struggle to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
You still struggle to get out of it.
100%. I always struggle to get out of it.
But you hit that a couple times, and then on one of them you just hit them with recovery when they dodge wrong, and it's almost a guaranteed kill if they go into it with orange or yellow life.
Nice. All right. Well, we had some technical difficulties. I was writing on the wrong drive on my recording computer, and it kind of shit the bed. We recovered everything, but like I was saying, we're right at an hour. So we've talked about the weapons we would suggest. I also had some legends to use if you liked certain weapons. Like, let's say someone went out and tried sword, spear, and gauntlet. Maybe they liked gauntlet the best. All right, well, if you like gauntlet, start with these. But I say we continue talking about weapons we suggest playing, and then three weapons to avoid, and then maybe a couple legends to avoid, and then kind of, if someone new does listen and I'd love to hear, maybe they tried Wu Shang out and they really like Wu Shang, you really like the spear. All right, maybe I'll have some suggestions for anybody that went down my path, because me and you are building two totally different paths for the newbies. You're just like, start with bow, and I'm over here like, avoid bow.
Yeah, exactly. All right, yeah, let's not get into what we would avoid. Let's just follow it up with legends that we recommend based on our weapon choices.
Okay. And then next episode we can talk about what we would avoid.
Yeah.
And then
something about, like, why we didn't want to try certain characters for a while, and then tried them out and we really liked them, or something like that.
Yeah. Now I know. So you started off with what was your first weapon?
I suppose my technical first weapon was bow and spear with Kaya.
Okay, so you said bow, spear, and katars, or was katars your second one?
I didn't learn katars until way later. I started katars.
Oh, no, I mean like in your list, like three for people to use.
Oh, my three were man, what were my three? I had axe, bow, and katars.
Oh, yeah, axe, bow, and katars. Okay, all right. And then one major thing is I would suggest learning two weapons really well. Just pick two weapons that you like, maybe a legend that uses both those weapons. And instead of, okay, well, I feel confident in these weapons I've picked out, time to learn a new one, I really want to learn XYZ. Don't go down that path. Once it's time to start learning new weapons, best thing to do is think of what weapon you're struggling against the most. So if you're really struggling against Scythe, force yourself to learn Scythe, because when you know how a weapon's played, you know how to predict it.
Yeah, and there are
my major issue with Lance whenever I first started playing.
I still don't know how to play against Lance. And there are some specific counters to weapons I was struggling, ironically, struggling against spear quite a bit. Even though I started with that weapon, I struggled to play against it. And blasters are a pretty nasty matchup for spear. They got good range, so I forced myself to learn blasters and was able to pretty handedly beat a lot of spear players. So learning a counter to a weapon that you struggle against is also very vital.
Also true. All right. Well, do you want to start with the your 3 legend picks based off the weapons you chose?
So I would say Ragnar is probably a pretty good pick if you find yourself gravitating towards Axe and Guitar. And the reason being is his signatures are pretty good. They cover a lot of different areas. You know, his side light or his side sig strikes a different area than his neutral sig, and vice versa with his down sig. And he's got overall good stats. Again, I'm assuming Ragnar's a he. That's probably incorrect. It's a lizard. But he's got very good stats. As far as a bow legend, I would recommend. So I just covered 2 of my weapons there.
Yeah.
Based on your point of find a legend that you like both weapons on.
You're gonna like how I set my 3 legends up then.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be one weapon that you're really good with and one weapon that you're really bad with, huh?
Oh, you just wait.
So it's extremely important to learn both weapons of a legend, and then how I kind of go away from that is I pick which one I like the most, and then I find another legend that uses that weapon, and then I learn that other weapon.
That's fair. That's a fair way to do it.
So I'm already good with one weapon, so now it's just a matter of learning the other one as opposed to learning 2 new weapons.
Instead of playing Petra for a year and never
touching
how to
orb.
use orb like me.
Bow legend I would recommend would probably be Koji. And this is building on the fact that you recommended sword. Koji's signature kit, I am not a fan of at all. But as far as learning 2 weapons really well, I think Koji, especially in like a defense stance, because his stats get fairly evened out, works really well to teach you just solid basics. You're going to learn really good light strings. You're going to learn how to combo into signatures and how to read off of them.
That is a very good choice, Koji. The sword and the bow, it's a very good combo, especially for a learner. If they pick up bow really quick, they'll pick up sword as well.
Yeah, and you're covering 2 different areas. You know, sword covers mostly very close, whereas like downlight and side light with bow cover some range.
And a great thing about this game, I'm surprised we've not brought up yet, is just there is a meta, but you can really play just about everybody except maybe 2 or 3 legends out of, how many legends do we have? Like 54?
Something like that.
There's maybe 3 that are just dog water.
Yeah, I would
Anything else can be viable.
I would say it's not so much a tier list with legends themselves, but the weapons and combinations they bring. So if you find a weapon, or if you find 2 weapons you really like, it doesn't really matter what the character brings to the table if those 2 weapons vibe well.
Exactly.
What are your 2 to 3 legends you would recommend to beginners?
Well, did you have a third one? I know you had Ragnar.
I only have 2. Ragnar and
2?
Koji's it.
I gotcha. Well, I went with 3 because it's like that perfect Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur triangle when it comes to, I pick sword, spear, and gauntlet. Legend number 1 is going to be Wushang. I feel like I've talked about him until I was blue in the face this podcast, but Wushang, awesome pick. Spear signatures are very easy to learn. The neutral signature catches people off guard a lot. Side signature is super quick on the spear. And then, of course, he's got those gauntlets, which I've talked about. Gauntlets, in my opinion, are very easy to learn. And they're also pretty good against weapons that I would consider the meta. It's also, honestly, I would say its biggest weakness, probably Greatsword, which is kind of nerfed into the ground right now, so you don't really have to worry about that. Hammer can be kind of tricky, which is very meta, and it doesn't match up against Cannon very well, but you don't see a lot of Cannon players right now.
Cannon's a pretty weird weapon. It doesn't really have an identity. It kind of borderlines between something like Axe, that you get 1 or 2 hits, and Scythe, where you just carry a string. You carry them off the map, basically.
Yeah, you can absolutely delete somebody with a cannon.
But it doesn't really do either of those things well, so I think that's why it's struggling to find a place in the meta.
Yeah, and then it got the major buff, and then it was the most busted thing in the world for one tournament, and then Greatsword came out. Or Greatsword was illegal. Then everyone was like, Cannon's no longer busted. I think it got a slight nerf, but Greatsword was just such a blaring, busted weapon that people just completely dropped Cannon.
And
it's
then
like
it got
that just
nerfed
blew
to the
over.
ground.
Yep.
And here we are.
But yeah, there's Wushang there, and then next is going to be building off that spear and the sword. Hattori, obviously, she's super quick. She's got good dexterity, good speed, which is very vital for a sword. If you get good with like a fast sword like Azuri, Hattori, Val, and you go try to play like Jala or Bodvar, you're going to notice a significant difference in those slower speed sword legends and those slower dexterity sword legends. But Hattori's very quick. She's kind of like a glass cannon.
Oh yeah.
You can delete people pretty quick, but on the same hand, you've got very low defense stats. So and her strength isn't that good, but she's a very technical legend. So essentially, you have to hit them a lot more than they hit you, or you will fall apart. And you almost have to use the defense stance, because if you try to use like the strength stance, it brings her defense down to 3, I believe. Let me check. It's either 3 or 2. Yeah, it's
yeah, it takes down to 3.
Oh yeah, brings it down to 3, which is paper thin. But it's mostly that speed that you're wanting from Hattori. Her signatures are all right. Her down sig on sword is not the best, and her down sig on spear you probably won't use a whole lot, but her other signatures are great. And last suggestion's gonna be pulling it all together. The gauntlet with the sword, Val. Val's very meta for a reason. I know earlier I said the game doesn't really have a meta, because it's not like, rarely you get the occasion where a character is being abused. We saw it with Sidra whenever Cannon was a little busted, and then Jaehyun
with Greatsword.
Jaehyun, yeah, he was, Greatsword was as close to like meta pick as it got, but for the most part, the meta's whatever you want it to be. But a lot of pros do play Val because she's very quick. Her dex is really well, and the best part is her defense is 5 or 6, I believe. Let me check. It's a 6.
It's
so
natural 6.
Base defense is a natural 6. Base attack is a natural 7, or not attack. Speed is a natural 7. So you get that speed that you get with Hattori, but you don't get that paper thin defense. Val's stats are much better than Hattori's, because she's right there with dexterity. She's a very middle of the road character where all of her stats are kind of even, kind of like a jack of all trades. So you can kind of adjust her to however you want, a little bit higher defense, a little faster, a little stronger. So she's got a very good signature kit as well.
Her
not so much with
so
Gauntlet. The sword signatures are very good and very quick. But
the way her signatures work is they typically put your opponent in a very disadvantageous position too.
Exactly. She's very good with edge guard as well. Which, just starting out, you're not going to be doing a whole lot of edge guard, because I know when I started off, whenever I tried to guard the edge, I would accidentally run out of jumps or just miss the platform, because I was new to those platform fighters.
Your picks brought to light something that I realized, and would probably allude to a third pick for beginners for me. I would recommend Queen Nai. Reason being is I think the things that you value for a beginner, I completely disregard. You're picking very fast legends. high dexterity or higher dexterity, and typically low attack or defense. I think that beginners are going to struggle to hit, so they need to hit with someone heavy, and they also need someone with high defense. And they also need someone that's got good signatures. So you can see where this is going.
Well, I was going to say, be careful with legends like Queen Nai or Orion, where their signatures are better than everyone else's signatures, so you tend to want to spam those, and you really don't want to get into the habit of spamming signatures when you're new. That's a very hard habit to break. And I know because I went through it.
I get that completely, and if you can avoid, I think if you can avoid the signature spam and over relying on them, and you can develop good basics with someone who is slower, it's only going to translate better to someone who's faster, and perhaps doesn't hit as hard, but you'll be able to hit more. I know as a beginner I struggled to hit people with attacks because I couldn't utilize the dexterity or speed.
That's fair. That does make a bit of sense.
Yeah, it was very important for me to
love?
get the most of my hits.
I would love for a new player to let me train them, and then you train another new player.
And then fight?
Yes, and then make them fight. So
all right.
For anyone who finds this podcast, I am looking for a champion.
And I am not looking for a champion. I'm looking for the next diamond player. So I think
it's on.
That's a fun challenge. If we do find two people that randomly stumble upon a podcast about Brawlhalla who have never played the game or have very few hours in the game, and you want to learn from two pretty decent people, reach out to us. If my style sounds more fun to you, reach out to me, Sergeant Spankcakes. If his style sounds more fun, reach out to Rox, and we'll get a little pride money match going.
You know what I just realized?
Huh?
When we started this podcast, we didn't introduce ourselves. We never gave our names. All right, nice.
I'm Sergeant Spankcakes.
So we'll record that in a little bit once we're done with this bit. But I don't know. I feel like we've had a good conversation, a little over an hour and 16 minutes or so. Perfect length for a podcast.
I think, and most of it's usable too. So I think.
Oh, I'm not even cutting this part out.
Yeah, you just
we're still rolling. This is in. We're one shot, baby. We're one shot.
We'll just leave it in and timestamp in some breaks for our listeners.
All right. Well, you wanna close this off? You want me to close this off?
You can go ahead and close this out.
All right. Well, this has been the first ever episode of the Gravity Cancel podcast. If you liked us, we don't really have social medias yet.
That's on the to-do list.
That'll be there before you're able to listen to this. So follow us if you've not already. You'll probably discover the first episode on Twitter. So that's probably what brought you here. But find us on Twitch. I stream Twitch TV or twitch.tv/WorldHopTV. I mostly just stream on Sundays, do Steam gift card giveaways pretty much every Sunday. And then Spankcakes, take it away.
I stream on https:// twitch.tv/Sergeant_Spankcakes. Don't stream at any regular schedule because of my work schedule, but you'll just randomly catch me, so drop a follow. I put on an okay show, I guess. But we'll eventually, I think we'll probably get a Gravity Cancel Twitch channel, and we'll probably host tournaments and stuff out of that. So be on the lookout for that. And then, social media, it's coming your way. You know, once you listen to this, go look for our page because it probably just got published. But thanks for listening. We enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, this was a blast. I had a great time, and I can't wait to talk to you about Brawlhalla for another hour and a half next time.
All right, take care, everybody.